Number 8. Shatter Me by Lindsey Stirling. Yeah, everyone's favorite YouTube violin dubstep artist whose name is Lindsey. As far as I'm aware, the only YouTube violin dubstep artist to break out into the what could be called mainstream, Lindsey Stirling. I'm sure you've heard of her. If you haven't, you should really go check her out because she is crazy good, and I fully respect her. I am so jealous of her abilities. The girl dances and plays violin. Not only does she do each of those things, but she does them at the same time, and she sounds damn good, and she looks damn good. The girl is damn good. So, definitely worth checking out. From this album, I definitely recommend the title track, Shatter Me, featuring Lizzie Hale of Hailstorm. I know, how pedestrian of me. I keep recommending the singles from the albums, but really, those are my favorite songs on the albums, and yeah. I don't know, I really like the whole album, obviously. I'm a fan of V-pop, I'm a fan of Master of Tides. I love Hailstorm, and Lizzie Hale is just great. And then Shatter Me, Lindsey Stirling's song featuring Lizzie Hale, just amazing, fantastic, wonderful, 100%, cool, yeah, awesome, great, yeah, cool, yeah, woo, woo. Number 7! Get Hurt by the Gaslight Anthem. A great album by a great band. I was very pleased with the direction they took it. I read an article about this album right before it came out. They had been playing one of the singles from it on the radio, actually, and I had heard it, and I was like really jamming to it. I was looking forward to this album coming out, and I read an article about it. Brian Fallon, the lead singer of Gaslight Anthem, was talking about how they had decided to try and write differently for this album, try going back to their punkier roots, and try to get away from Bruce Springsteen sounding, because it's one thing to be compared to him. This is paraphrasing. He said something along the lines of, it's better to be compared to him than to sound just like him. So like, if someone's like, oh hey, you guys are really cool, you remind me of Bruce Springsteen, yeah, that's awesome. But if people were like, oh, are you just trying to be Bruce Springsteen? Like, that's not cool. So he wanted to be less like Bruce Springsteen, because he didn't want to come across as a poser. He wanted it to be known that their stuff was original. And it's great. It goes back to not quite as punky as Sink or Swim, their first album, which I love. I absolutely love every song, every album they've released, every song on every album they've released. But I really, really do enjoy Get Hurt, and I completely understand and support their change of feel. They also kind of stepped away a little bit from the laying really heavily on the whole it being of the past aspect of the music, because Handwritten got really heavy-handed with that, actually, and that was the one thing I noticed in Handwritten, was a little bit too much of the antique feel of the music. He was very good at writing for the period that he was making it sound like he was writing for, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. But I also love the new direction they've taken. I'm recommending the title track again, Get Hurt. I'm also recommending Stay Vicious and Rollin' and Tumblin'. I really enjoy those three, but I also really enjoy the rest of the album, so just, if you want to check it out, feel free. And if you know the Gaslight Anthem, and you were discouraged by them changing style and you didn't really give it a listen, I would suggest that you give it a try. And if you've never heard of the Gaslight Anthem, what are you waiting for? Please, you really ought to check them out. They're super good. They've got, what is this now, 5 albums? They've got Sink or Swim, 59 Sound, American Slang, Handwritten, Get Hurt. 5 albums now, and they're all fantastic. Yeah, and also they're from New Jersey, my home state, which is awesome. Really, really worth a listen. You can check them out. Number 6, Maps of Non-Existent Places by Thank You Scientist. Thank You Scientist is a band who sound like Coheed and Cambria, but they have horns and a violin, which is great. You can't argue with horns or a violin in a band. What's even better is that they actually feature those instruments. They don't just, we got horns and a violin, but they just kind of play really quiet in the background. They actually like make them prominent. They give them solos, which is fantastic. I saw these guys. I saw them live with Coheed and Cambria when they were on tour with them. They were opening for Coheed during the In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3 Neverender, which was the tour where they played through their entire second album. For its 10-year anniversary, they played through the entire second album, and then they did this crazy, awesome, super encore of like 6, 7 more songs. We got a free we got an exclusive acoustic song at the beginning, which was actually an acoustic cover of Jimmy Eat World. I got that for paying more money and being a VIP, but it's so worth it. I love seeing Coheed live. I've seen them twice now, and I plan on seeing them plenty more in the future. But that's not who this segment of this video is about, so I'm going to stop talking about them and talk about Thank You Scientist. So they take the stage, and it's dark. I see the violin, I see the horns, I know they're going to be there. It's a trumpet, an alto saxophone, a violin, see, a drummer, guitarist, etc. All the band that you expect. See a guy step up to the mic, I see a mohawk on the guy, I see a beard on this guy. But that's it. And then the lights come on from underneath, from below stage, pointing up. You see he's got a pink mohawk, he's got this brown beard. It's not just like a beard, it's a beard at this point. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really cool. But I was not expecting the sound that came out of his mouth. His voice is fantastic, but it's so high-pitched, you would never have expected it coming out of this man. And I was just blown away. They had just signed to the lead singer of Coheed and Cambria, Claudio Sanchez. His record label, Evil Ink Records, named after the comic book company that he runs with his wife Chandra, where they release the Coheed and Cambria Amory Wars comic books and several other comics that they've released. Getting sidetracked again. Thank You Scientist had just signed with Evil Ink Records. They were on tour with Coheed and Cambria, and they were fantastic. I was blown away by their show. They just had 2 shows in my area, and had I known about them, I would have gone to see them, but I just wasn't paying attention, I guess, and they passed me by. But they were at the Masquerade in Atlanta, they were at the Fillmore in Charlotte. It was a perfect opportunity. I mean, I saw them at the Fillmore when I saw Coheed. That was where I saw that, but it still would have been great to see a whole show of their stuff. I got their album right away after that. They released their album on Evil Ink. I don't know when, but they did last year, 2014, and it's a fantastic album. Start to finish, it's just great. My favorite song was Feed the Horses. It was, I think, the first or second song they played in their set, and I had just, it just hit me. Just was immersed in this sound, and it was just fantastic. So that's the one that really stuck with me the most. Also, my famed Disappearing Act is, I would call it their single. I would call it their hit. It seems to be the one that some people in the crowd knew, and it was excellent. So go ahead and give that a listen. They're also from New Jersey. Maps of Non-Existent Places by Thank You Scientist, number 6. Next up is number 5! Number 5 is Rooms of the House by La Dispute. If you don't know La Dispute, that's a shame, but I'm glad you're happy. La Dispute makes emo, very sad music. In fact, one of their songs is literally the lead singer crying while softly playing a piano. That track is called Untitled, in case you're wondering. Untitled by La Dispute. Man cries over piano. Yes, it's Untitled by La Dispute. Anyway, Rooms of the House, I was eagerly awaiting the release of this album. I love La Dispute. I am not a sad person. I am a happy person. I am a very energetic person. But I really, really enjoy the music that La Dispute makes. I can appreciate the art, their ability, and it's just fantastic. And I was really looking forward to it. I was not disappointed at all. Rooms of the House was less of a concept album, really, to me at least. It was less of a continuous concept album and more of an album of concepts, kind of like Get Hurt was. And I just really enjoyed it. I feel like parts of it weren't as heavy as you might expect from La Dispute if you've only ever heard their albums, but if you've heard Here Here 1, 2, and 3, which is almost completely him just reciting beat poetry to light accompaniment, it's definitely more exciting than that, but it's a good halfway point between the heavier songs on their existing albums and the Here Here's. I recommend Hudsonville, the first track. Hudsonville, Michigan, 1956, which is a fantastic song. It's about, from what I can understand, tornadoes. I'm pretty sure it's about tornadoes and people dying, but it's a great song. It's very vivid with the emotions, and that's something that I really enjoy about La Dispute in general, is how much emotion they convey. Sometimes a little over the top, but I feel as though in this track it's definitely warranted. I also recommend Woman in Mirror and Woman Reading and For Mayor in Splitsville. All excellent tracks. It's an excellent album. It's definitely worth a listen. Also, Objects in Space. Objects in Space is great. Check out the album if you want to be sad or just appreciate some artistic talent, and also, or if you just want to feel like you're having a better day than someone. If you're that kind of person and listening to other people's misery makes you feel better about yourself, you should probably check out La Dispute, because you'll just be the happiest surfboard alive, and that's really, isn't that what we all want? Happiness is good. I want you to be happy.